Well, it was 160 years ago today that the U.S. Supreme Court handed down its infamous Dred Scott decision. The landmark ruling legally relegated people of African descent to subhuman status in the United States. Today, the descendants of both families gathered in Annapolis in the name of reconciliation. Byron Scott has our story.
The descendants of Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney and the descendants of Dred Scott gathered here at Taney's statue behind the State House here in Annapolis for a moment of reconciliation.
Thank God for the Taney family, and we thank God for the Scott family.
They gathered in front of the statue of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney on the 160th anniversary of the Dred Scott decision, which essentially said slaves were not people.
So what was the injury to the Scotts by Roger Brooke Taney?
His great-great-great-nephew, Charlie Taney, read part of the decision.
You can't look away when Taney wrote that the only rights the black race has is the rights that the white race chooses to give them.
Today was not to rehash the past, but to look forward with reconciliation.
So today, for all the Taneys we face it, and we offer our deep apology to the Scott family and to all African Americans.
We accept your apology, and I thank you for it. I thank you for the courage that you have and that Kate had. Come out and put yourselves out here and take this stand so that healing can begin.
The Taneys and Scotts met last year when Kate Taney Billingsley produced a play titled A Man of His Time about the fictional meeting of the Taney and Scott descendants. Kate reached out to Dred's great-great-granddaughter, LYNN Jackson, who runs the Dred Scott Foundation in St. Louis.
I was very nervous. I had talked to her on the phone, so I knew she was just very sweet, but I was just still nervous because I had written this play.
I find it very interesting that two descendants of both families met over a play about two descendants meeting. So that's how it happened.
While there has been much debate and talk about removing the Taney statue from the State House, both families are calling for it to remain in place. They hope to eventually add nearby one of Dred Scott.
And we built an educational exhibit around it, so that people could come here and learn about the Dred Scott decision, what it meant, the aftermath, what it's meant to our history.
We feel like it's a learning experience, it's an educational opportunity, and truly within my whole family, everybody is of the same opinion. It's educational. Add to it, don't take from it.
The day began with a reading of the play here at a local church. It will end tonight with a reception hosted by the Legislative Black Caucus. In Annapolis, Byron Scott, CTV News.
Thank you, Byron. Justice Taney was the second longest serving Chief Justice in our history.